Derivatives trading involves substantial risk of loss and is not suitable for all investors. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results.
So stressful when the world's on fire. Good God. I can't look at this, guys. Like, my strategy is you buy it and you hope that you got a good spot. Yeah, but we all think you're crazy. You don't fight this. No way. The markets are freaking out and you don't think that anything is wrong? Come back tomorrow and I'll lose it all. Should be fun.
I muted myself, I forgot. I mute myself so that during the intro it doesn't go over the thing. Although you have to check because the other day I thought that the intro music wasn't working either. There you go. Okay. So, have a lot to talk about. Crazy stuff happened over the weekend. Unclear if it's really going to affect markets. But coming in here, like, the treasuries are buying here pretty aggressively, although they are running into a little bit of resistance here at the previous overnight highs. So, let's go into the charts, see what we can learn from the movements. Okay, so we have a little bit of buying here. This might be a flight to safety trade here in the treasuries. We have been expecting the treasuries to sell. We have had some days where they've sold pretty hard, but I mean, look, we're actually stuck in quite the range here. So here's the S&P 500 down overnight, not a huge jump. So I'm looking for a jump, you know, when we started, not really seeing that. Maybe in oil? Well, there was an oil, but it has since reverted back down. Cool. Gold and silver, maybe slightly higher. Copper, kind of down in doldrums after getting just savaged last Friday. And then we got to come over to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, again, the story was that there was a new exchange or something like that. Tried to pop a little bit over the weekend, but that kind of failed. And the dollar still above 102. Okay, so what happened over the weekend? My goodness. Well, there was an attempted coup in Russia. This story is frankly a little bit bizarre. I think there are a lot of people after all this happened. Sorry, I need to come to the right screen. Lots of people after all this happening going like, what the F was that? How did this all happen? So the head of Wagner, Prigozhin, I believe is his name, he has been kind of like having back and forth with the Ministry of Defense and with Putin for a little while now. And there was a initiative to force all of the Wagner people to sign with the military, and they didn't really like that, and so Wagner decided to go after the Ministry of Defense. Now, this is a critical thing: is that he was like, these generals have not served us; they need to be removed, etc. He wasn't like directly going after Putin, at least not at first. Although he did say at one point, like, we will have a new president and things like that. Okay, so all of these guys start they take over the main hub in the south that like all of the supplies and everything going to Ukraine are going through, take that over, and then start heading towards Moscow. And there was just absolute complete panic in Moscow. Reports that Putin had left Moscow, although that's all kind of fuzzy because like a plane did leave, but there's no proof that Putin was on it. All of the leadership there was freaking out. They're telling the military to like destroy roads and things like that to slow the advance. It's getting crazy. Wagner shot down like a bunch of jets and helicopters and stuff, which was actually a pretty big loss for Russia. It's just crazy. And then all of a sudden, we get this report that they've made a deal and that Prigozhin tells all of his troops to go back to their bases and he's gonna move to Belarus. It's like, what happened? Kind of confusing, yeah? I really think that this is another one of those examples here with this. So this situation over the weekend in Russia, I think, is another example of where, because we don't have a whole lot of context here in the West, and because we kind of have our own preconceived notions about things, that it can really affect the way that we see things and make it difficult to understand, because we all want to see the Russian regime fail, right? So that kind of clouds our thinking. I think when you really go into it, what happened was actually quite simple and was really destined to fail, because you have these armies moving towards Moscow. Moscow was setting up to prevent them from coming in, and the Chechenian army is coming in to help defend Moscow, right? So that was not just going to be like a quick come in, take over, and now we have a new president. No, that was going to be like a drawn out civil war, and we only have 25,000 troops. You're not going to win that battle. And so the Wagner forces basically blinked. I mean, they probably made the smart decision, but they weren't going to win that battle. They needed somebody else to come in, some other general or whatever, be like, yeah, these guys are right, and see large swaths of the normal military also switch and support them, so that they had like a numbers advantage. Well, the thing is that Prigozhin, especially at first, did not directly go after Putin. He was actually going after the Ministry of Defense guys, like the exact people that they would need to help them if they were going to pull off a coup. So like from that, once you realize that, it was destined to fail. It was destined to fail. So, and this, I think, highlights something about Russia that we forget about, because in the West, Russia is portrayed as this, Putin is this despotic, authoritarian ruler, etc., which is true to some extent, but they also have a lot of leeway in Russia that you wouldn't necessarily have if it was like purely an authoritarian regime. Like these people in Russia, I have them on my stream sometimes, right? Like they're still allowed to be on the internet. They're still allowed to say certain things. But I think a more useful model for how Russia works in order to understand and predict what's going to happen over on Russia is that Putin has fostered an ultra-nationalist regime that is basically, and it's not just like an ultra-nationalist regime like Donald Trump was maybe a nationalist, where it was like, we should worry about America first, except no, they have like an ultra-nationalist regime that's basically like Russia versus the world, okay? And they believe it. They truly believe it. Even this guy that is orchestrating a coup seems to me like he believes it. And that makes it very, very difficult for you to garner up the support that you would need to have a coup. I don't think I've ever seen an ultra-nationalist regime of this nature go under from the inside or get taken over in a coup. Has that happened before? Okay, that's not the way that it worked in World War II Germany, for instance. Okay, it's not the way that it worked in World War II Japan, right? The people genuinely believe it. They go with it all the way. And so I don't know if, that was probably like your best chance to see the Putin regime collapse from the inside. A lot of people are saying, well, this exposes a lot of weakness, and maybe other people in the Russian regime decide to do something. I'm not sure. Like, it's not going to be anybody from the Ministry of Defense, right? Surely there are some rich people in there that are like sick and tired of this. Chinese are probably sick and tired of this. But the problem is that the people genuinely believe it. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and contradict a lot of the other analysts that you're seeing out there in the West by saying that I don't think that the Putin regime is going to collapse internally, at least not anytime soon. Yes, this does kind of open the door for other people to try it, but I also think that it kind of demonstrates where the Putin regime has some strength in some instances, that the people really do genuinely believe it, and that makes it very difficult to garner up the support that you need for a coup. But it doesn't look like the markets really reacted too much. Oil was not open too different. Everything has kind of come down. So I don't know if that's really going to affect markets at all. We do have, let me come in here. Oh, you know what? First of all, I need to adjust my sound here just a little bit. Okay. Let's see here. I want to check what news do we have this week. Looks like the treasuries did moderate back down here. Okay, so we don't have anything, no real anything today. Yeah, not for the dollar at least. Tomorrow we got durable goods, CB consumer confidence, new home sales, Richmond manufacturing. On Wednesday, we got Chairman Powell speaks due to participate in a panel discussion titled Policy Panel at the ECB Forum on Central Banking. That's probably going to be a relatively major event. He speaks again on Thursday at the 4th Conference on Financial Stability held by the Bank of Spain in Madrid. Okay, so he is over in Europe right now. Cool. Oh, and we get final GDP. Also on Friday, core PCE and Chicago PMI. Core PCE has been a mover as of late, so. But for today, that puts us in a tight spot. I mean, I don't understand this buying that we were getting in the treasuries. That's a little weird. Strong buying on the open seems kind of odd for a no news Monday, where I'm not really sure how it moves, if it moves at all. There you go. So, what else do we have to talk about? Oh, yes. So, I'm trying to put together this video on volume profile. I got in and I've got some data. Because of how the data is structured, it'll take a little bit of work to like really like process all this data. But then I was also having some problems with it, like some parts of it were corrupt. So I would really like to do that data set if I can before I put the video out. So I didn't record anything this week for that. I'm sorry. And then next week we got the 4th of July. So I guess that gives me like 2 weeks to figure it out. But so I apologize for that. I owe you videos. I haven't put a video out in like, you know, a few months now. I had 2 really good videos at the beginning of the year, and now I'm kind of like, I haven't done anything. I feel like a lazy ADHD piece of crap, but you know, it's okay. We may be into a time period where it will be difficult for me to get videos out because my wife is working again, when she works weekends. She really doesn't have to work, but you know, if she continues working and she retires, then she gets some good benefits that she wants. So she really wants to finish it out. And so just kind of, takes on as few flights as she can and tries to keep them to ones that are just like, you know, there and back sort of a thing. But that kind of puts a damper on my weekend a lot of the time. So we'll figure it out though. We'll figure it out. Oh, here's good. So we'll see here. Yeah, he's giving me a recommendation on how to. Well, a little bit up, but dun, dun. I have to run that after the stream because it's probably going to take a lot of resources. I have this data set that should allow us to generate volume profiles for like the last 10 years, but it's like a massive data set. Like it's like 100 gigs or something. And that's after they've already done a ton of stuff to compress it and stuff. So I really should get through that, and maybe I should just do the other video first. Maybe I should just do the other video first while we're still working on that. Because I really want to get that one out too, because I'm just seeing a lot about this particular smart money concept thing right now, and I feel like I have some really key information about it that to share with people. So this is really interesting because we don't have any significant news today, like no real scheduled economic releases or anything, right? And it is a Monday, so that would often be like a really tough. Oh, and it's also the later half of the month. Okay, so that would often be kind of like a difficult day to see anything happen. We're kind of seeing some flow in line with that, and we're kind of not. Like, we have been in a range and we've kind of come back to this 14.5 and kind of sat there, but we did have a pretty aggressive move to the upside after the pit open that I'm really not sure what that was about. So this could be, I think I'm still leaning on that this is likely to be a quiet day, but there's just enough going on that, yeah. So this one, I think it's continuing overnight trade on Russian news. I don't know. It doesn't seem. Private commercial real estate, how and when the market's next time bomb goes off is the recent story on Zero Hedge. Okay. Everyone expects higher rates to slow inflation, but what if the opposite? So I read that story. And I don't know, that the headline seemed kind of clickbaity because he wasn't saying that like, oh, higher rates could actually like create more inflation or something like that. I think that's something that's going on though. I think that something that's going on is that we're getting a lot of stimulus from student loan payments being, deferred. I think you're going to see a big shift in the economy when that ends. Like, that's why, in my opinion, these interest rate changes are not really affecting like consumer behavior. Like people are continuing to take on more debt, for instance, and things like that. I think it's because like the whole thing is screwed up, and the only way that you get things back into balance, the first thing that you got to do at least to get things back into balance, is you need to restart student loan payments. What's this? CNN reports that Mr. Beast was invited to go on the submarine. I'm sure he chose not to do it, huh? So I saw this one TikTok the other day. I don't know if it was like a widely spread TikTok. It didn't look like at the time that I viewed it, at least, that it had a lot of views. But she was saying that, the last time that there was like a human interest story that the media was this obsessed with, it was Harambe. So like, is this another Harambe level timeline event? And other people were saying, no, this is actually the thing that like puts the timeline back into balance. I don't know if that's the thing that puts the timeline back into balance. How do you explain all the crazy Russian stuff? I don't know. Oh, well, I don't know about... Okay, so this one guy is saying that the gold is at its highest, but that's not... I mean, that is a move, but... I don't know if that's related to that. I don't know. This guy seems to think that they're trading this something about the Russian scenario. I don't think that that's what it is. Hello, Amir. How are you doing? Yeah, I hope we have a good week. I'm a little worried that it might be a quiet week. I don't know. It's summer. It's summer. I haven't been... the other day I was thinking like, Seth, you need to make TikToks. How come you don't make TikToks anymore and stuff? And part of it is that I'm just sick of TikTok. Maybe I'll talk about that in a second, but I should finish the other point first and not get too ADHD about it. It's because it's the summer. There's just not as much to talk about in the summer. I am a little fed up with, it's not just TikTok. I think it's everywhere. Like, it seems to me that they changed the algorithm on TikTok, and I'm not getting as much entertaining content on TikTok anymore. In fact, I would say the majority of the stuff that I get on TikTok is like content reposted and repurposed from somewhere else, right? It's like they'll take a clip from a podcast, and there's all of these different channels that are like posting the same clips. So I'll see the same clip over and over and over again, for instance, right? Like it's very rare now. Well, let's not say very rare, but I would say only 20% of the TikToks that I get are somebody took out their phone and recorded themselves doing something funny or talking, right? Which is what made TikTok cool in the first place. And I'm like, well, why is that? Well, they kind of changed their algorithm a little bit. And so I keep coming back to this thing where it's like, it seems to me like the tech companies are always changing the algorithms so that, nobody is happy with the result, but they can't look away. Right? Like nobody sits there and says, oh yeah, I think that social media right now is the best it's ever been. I love the content. I can't get enough of it. It's all great. It's good for society. And nobody says that. Everybody's unhappy with it. And how is it that everybody can be unhappy with it, and yet that's the rule, right? They've somehow overfit their models to something that makes them money, but is not actually what we enjoy, I think. How are we not talking about the cage fight? I don't know. What else is there for us to say about it that we haven't already said? Well, okay, so I'll tell you this much, okay? Before I was kind of saying, well, you know, I think that Mark Zuckerberg should probably be favored to win because he's more in shape, he's younger, and he's actually like doing mixed martial arts. I think I'm changing my mind on that. I think that if Elon Musk is given enough time to train, he would slaughter Mark. because Mark Zuckerberg is like 5'7" and Elon Musk is like 6'1". So yeah, he's huge. Right? It would be like I would probably be a better suited opponent for Mark Zuckerberg. Right? Except for that I don't train or do MMA or anything, but I'm 5'9". I'm 5'9", but I'm a light belt. Right? I'm probably a closer kind of like opponent. You think Zuckerberg? Why on Zuckerberg? I'm just saying the size difference between these two people is about as big as it gets. like honestly, Elon Musk probably has so much arm length on Zuckerberg that he if he could just keep it on, you know, if he can just keep it all on his feet, he would probably destroy him. So Zuckerberg wouldn't even be able to get in. Like the size difference is big. What? Who knows? I'm still somewhat skeptical that it's going to happen. I'm still kind of the theory that this is just them trying to promote themselves and that they're not actually going to do it. Oh, we'll see. Offers pressing here? I'm not quite seeing it yet, to be honest with you. So I guess this kind of comes back to what are some things that we know that predicts orders, right? Well, for one, we know that Mondays tend to see a little bit less activity. And that the second half of the month tends to see a little bit less activity. So I think just based on that I'm kind of leaning towards that the treasuries aren't going to move that much. They sure seem to be behaving in a way that is like set up to try and convince you that something is going to happen, though. Like this move right here. So we've moved up like what? Well, 3 ticks recently. Maybe we could say 5 ticks. It's just note though that it's only to the other side of the range, and it wasn't really on much volume. Okay, so like there's a down tick there that looked pretty significant. It kind of looked like the market maker let it get sucked back up there, and not necessarily that there was a large meta order going along. There was about 4,000 contracts net on it, but it wasn't very much at any one particular level. Although I'd keep an eye on this 15.5 to see if the buyer does anything there. What predicts orders is, if it's a question, I would say, no, I don't think that limit orders predict future orders very well at all. D. I'm not quite sure I understand why you're so enamored with the limit orders in that way, because it's really not the way that it works. So this is kind of an interesting thing, because I think that the simplest way to think about the market, in terms of like in terms of understanding like how do big players interact with the markets and things like that, just assume for a second that all market orders are informed traders and all limit orders are market orders, right? And then you kind of, when you game that all out, right, then you really want to pay attention to the market orders, right? Market orders are going to determine, that's the informed traders, that's going to determine where it's going to go, right? Because the market maker is just trying to make money on the spread. He doesn't really try and make a move. Well, it turns out that the informed traders are actually maybe like 50-50. So about 50% of their orders are done market orders and 50% of them are limit orders. So that's, you know, if it's 50-50, you can kind of understand how the cumulative delta still ends up being a very, very effective indication of where things are going, right? But I don't know, even if we were to say that the book does tell you a lot, I think the book is kind of telling you some weird things right now. So for starters, the liquidity on the inside is okay. There is a little bit of liquidity sitting at 17, which is just one tick further than the high. Okay, so I would always expect there to be a little bit of liquidity up there. Okay, what I think is interesting is that after 18, the liquidity dies off very quickly. That's a little odd to me. And it looks like they come back here. These flows still appear to be just market making flow, right? I'm not seeing a super strong indication of an informed trader. It's possible, but I'm not seeing a super strong indication. I would also add, I think this would be kind of a weird timing for it. Vegas would blow up. Yeah, if they actually have the fight, it will be the biggest. This is going to be the one thing that like everybody does pay-per-view to get. like we will have to buy the pay-per-view and like watch it or something. I don't know how we would do that. What's this year recession talk I've been seeing over the weekend? I'm not so sure what that's about. What you're referring to, Probox. So anyways, I got distracted. The way that I look at it is that the limit orders tell you the current conditions, right? And the market orders are the orders that you're kind of trying to predict what they're going to come in and do, right? And I need to watch that interaction between market orders and limit orders to determine what the flows actually are, right? So as I'm watching that interaction between these two right now, I'm not actually seeing active. Well, okay, so now that right there is a little weird. That is a little weird. I have more things open than I think I should. I guess another thing I would say is that if we're not going to see a big buy flow come in here, I think there's actually a good chance that they come back to like 113.11.5. But we'll see. I also I feel like 3.68 is just too low, but who knows? The actual rate is, you know, it's almost impossible to figure out what that really should be. we might see interest rates that seem a little bit nonsensical over the summer here, okay? There we go. Well, you're not really seeing it anymore, but on the inside it was relatively thick. Just know these buys. Okay, hold. See, I'm not seeing a strong desire on the part of the market makers to pick them up here. It's kind of, they're letting it move around, but they're not. No sign that they're actively trying to do anything yet. Slightly more level 2 activity than you usually get, though. But no, yeah, I need to stick to my guns. I'm not actually seeing a market that I want to trade, although there may be a possibility that we come down to 11.5. I guess another flow that we need to consider is that I think we're probably going to continue to see selling flows in the treasuries. Will they come in today? How aggressive will they be? Etc. Etc. I don't know, but I think that there's a couple of things going on that liquidity does appear to be draining globally, and so you're likely to see treasuries be selling. Nick Timmerels 4 minutes ago, there are just a lot of embedded pandemic era forces that are working against this tightening, says Richmond Fed President Tom Barkin. I didn't fully anticipate how much the move in interest rates would convince people not to put their houses on the market. Oh, really? I don't know. I mean, I anticipated that the real estate market activity would slow significantly when they raised interest rates, right? But probably not. Never could have guessed that it would have been this extreme. I think of limiters was when I'm at a machinery auction at the Ritchie Brothers. We're betting on heavy equipment, and we see and know a big buyer. We tend to stay away from that machine because we don't want a bidding war. Well, but there's part of your problem is how do you know that that's what's going on, right? The only way that you can actually know that a bidder is serious is if they hit him and he takes it, right? And that's kind of what I'm trying to say is that at the moment, I'm not seeing anything from the absorption and stuff that suggests to me that the limit orders have a strong opinion on this market. It really does kind of look to me like it's just kind of ranging. Like, look, even though we're going to get that 11.5 that I was predicting, it's still like, it's not on very much volume. In fact, the cumulative delta has hardly changed at all from when we were at 15. And I'm actually a little suspicious of that one. That one is kind of like, okay, Seth said that we're going to go to 11.5, so let's go to 11.5. Maybe we'll come one short of that, and that will trick Seth into thinking that he knows what's going on. And then whichever way Seth decides to go, we can go and do the opposite. That's what's going on there. I keep forgetting that Mr. Beast's name is Jimmy Donaldson. I don't know, just based off of how that moved, I would think that you would want to fade this move, but I am getting concerned on, is this gonna move to the short side? Like it's kind of looking like this thing where like, okay, we'll let the buyers have it, they'll take it. Yeah, they couldn't even make it past, they couldn't even make a new high. It doesn't seem like they're too interested. Okay, let's have the shorts have it. Well, it seems like the shorts are a little bit more interested in here, aren't they? There hasn't been a lot of activity in the micros either. Bid's kind of saying, now you're gonna have to trade into me. And they do trade it down, but it almost immediately goes bid again. So on that one, you can see that they are selling it a little bit here in the treasury, but the price is holding because the 5 and the 30 aren't moving. In fact, look, 5-year ticked up there. Ouch. Though I am seeing slight bit of selling in those. There's actually more changing cumulative delta in the 5 and the 30 than in the 10-year. And that did kind of shoot up there a little bit, didn't it? Okay. Tick back down. Interesting. So I was just thinking about that Mr. Beast headline. Remember I was saying, I think that the media might forget about the submersible thing quickly. I would say that is not in line with my scenario on that news, is it? Okay, well, I'll just note that there was a little pivot just before the open, all the way back down at 09. So even though I'm showing that the low is at 10.5, if you were going to see like, oh, they broke the new lows, sort of that behavior might not happen until 09. Usually there's a few algorithms that react when it breaks the regular session low, though, regardless of whether it really seems pertinent or not. Okay. Now I'm starting to see the deltas change a bit. Still very tepid. Ouch. That tick at 11 happened a little bit too easily, wouldn't you say? Only 770 contracts to do it. Just kind of took it. Yeah. Nothing hitting 10.5 yet. Oh, I didn't catch this. Lloyd Blankfine tweets, do you think Putin is thinking I'm 70 years old and fabulously rich? Why the hell do I need this aggravation? No, I don't actually think he thinks that way. Like I said, he actually believes it. Now, has anybody even responded to that tweet? Let me come in here. That was 21 minutes ago. Ouch. Okay. That was okay, so new regular session lows, but again, it was very easy for them to get those lows, right? Like there's not any big transactions going off to make it happen or anything like that. It's ticking on its own. There's also some big offers pressuring it down now. So I'm wondering now if you see kind of level break sorts of behavior here or not. 3K at it. And what about the stuff at the top? No, the stuff at the top is still 26.53, so that didn't move. It's not from there. Still haven't seen any trade at 09 yet, though. Oh, there's some. Just as I say that, 200 lot hits it. And it was a 200 lot, by the way. Okay, some attempts there. So actually quite a bit traded at 09.5 now. The big order at 10 is not moving. I do kind of wonder if they did sell 09 if the order drops. feeling a little bit of drowsiness coming over me for some reason. Okay, so they ticked down. The big order did not follow. It just disappeared. And now the tick back up. Nothing. That's odd. Okay, Feds Williams speaking right now, saying restoring price stability is of paramount importance. Interesting, I'm not seeing that on any of the Twitters. So even though we've come down here, deltas still haven't changed significantly. So at the moment, I'm thinking, well, they've clearly distributed a little bit at 09 half and 09, right? 8K, 5K there. But this may be one of those ones where they have another little push and it comes back to that. I don't know if that node is big enough that it's really going to be that heavy, you know, like that big of a gravity well to pull them back. But and I guess the thing is that we haven't really seen that much sell volume on it. So like, if this really is a large meta order selling and they have more to sell, you know, I don't know if any of that's going to really hold them back. You say 08. I don't know how long that's been there. I always, when there's a big order, like right at or just below the previous day's low, I almost always ignore it. Yeah. So did you see how when they ticked down that pulled? Now, I'm going to bet you, well, this might tick back up, right? But I'm going to bet you that if this increases, right, it gets higher than this, that you can see most of those orders cancel. Let's see. Could absorb. You could see maybe 2,000 at 08. But yeah, it's like this thing where like there's these algorithms that are like constantly putting bids at the last price or whatever. Like if it ticks up, there's algorithms that out there that are set to just immediately place a limit buy at 08 half. And they don't even necessarily want to get filled. They're just trying to get the first place in line. And then if price goes back the other way, they just stay there. And so you always have these like limit orders at the last pivot high and last pivot low that are kind of still there from it being rolled out. And then when they actually get through to it, they don't always trade. Right. Well, we are now we beat out the last pivot. There was like a node in the extended session at 07 half. The low of the session is all the way down at 03 half, actually. Wow. That seems like really far away. I don't know about that. That kind of looks like my sign there. No. Moving around a little bit too much. Okay, I'm gonna take the profit. I'm a little bit... Okay, so if this keeps going, then that was like a bad profit taking, right? Kind of looks like they may go for more. I got out at 09. They seem to be eyeing it. Like the 08 half is stacked to 2000 now, right? There's a pretty good chance that they hit those bids. Oh, now that's interesting. Okay, so they did not take the 08, and when it ticked up, they were able to tick up at 09 as well pretty easily. And then the big order at 09 half shows up again. At least briefly, it disappeared. Let's see how much, if they are able to make 09 half clear, if there's not 3K there. That would not surprise me at all. Oh, now it's a 09. Not as big, but 09 is seeing a bit of a stack. Okay, so they cleared that one. That was 25. 2,500 at 09. Not enough of a bid at 09 to really get them to nibble at 09 half yet. The 5-year seems to be pulling back quite a bit, though. Already back to the price that I got out at. I think that if I had not gotten out of that trade when I did, that I would probably be really seriously thinking about getting it out of it now, so... Offers in the book increased by 3. Yeah, well, yeah, they're stacking on offers for sure. We are at the S&P 500 open, so you often see a little bit of movement there on that, right? You can just see like there's two. So a stack like that is a little bit suspicious to me, to be honest with you. So like think about it. We just had a strong downtrend. We're coming down to an area of distribution. Okay, if you really want to sell a lot of something, why would you stack it there at 09 and 09 half? Right? I wouldn't want to show my orders there in that kind of a situation. So it seems a little suspicious. Now, the last time that we traded at like 09, those orders did like trade through. Okay, but like there was like what, 2,700 there at one point, and we only traded 1249 to get up there. Like it is a little suspicious. It seems I'm not sure that I could say that that's a really strong indication that we're about to have a reversal here. But I think I could say that the risk reward is maybe not very favorable. Like if we do trade 09 half, we're likely to get a little bit of a pop, at least back to the open. Right? The pressure still seems to be there, but it doesn't seem to be coming from the actual treasuries. I think it's actually the 6J. The 6J has seen a pretty decent decline here. And the 6J and and the treasuries are very, very closely correlated at this time. When I look at the dollar, I can see plenty more room to run from a technical perspective. So now they did was that a new low? No, that wasn't a new low either. But they did trade the low. I'm not seeing the same stacks this time though. There it is. Well, I guess I should have stayed in, huh? Guess I should have stayed in. There's another $10. I'm actually quite surprised at how quickly that happened. Because I was kind of thinking, yeah, they might range here for a little bit. But look, it's going, and there's a couple more prices. Ah, geez. Like, I think I already missed out on $20. I guess I should have stayed in it. I still find those limit orders a little suspicious, but I don't think that's what's driving it here. Because the market orders in the treasuries themselves is very mild. Very, very mild. Hardly a change at all. Not a clear trend in the cumulative delta at all. Okay, well there's your level break setup right there at 05 half. Remember that the overnight low was in the was 03 half, 03, something like that. So are you going to get some backwash here? Because that might have just been like a stop run. Wow, actually, yeah. So I'm only just now realizing like a lot traded at 05 half, 05, 04 half there. Right? They just traded 12, 15,000 or so quite quickly. Okay, so this is where if I had held on, so again, I got it at 709. So there could have been $10. So that would have been a 25, 26, 27, 28. I probably should have taken 30 on that. Did you take that? You know, I'm surprised that I took that, to be honest with you. I'm kind of thinking back on it and I'm like, I'm not quite sure I understand why I took that. No, I think I do understand why I took that. Buyers had it, they took it, they didn't do anything with it, it flipped back around, and I'm still expecting treasuries to sell. In general, over the next few weeks, and over the summer, I'm expecting the interest rates to rise, possibly as high as 4%. So when I started to see that selling flow shift around, I thought I saw a place where I could get in really easily. Now, that was an extension. We should be cautious about the possibility of it snapping back to 09, okay? Because they traded a bunch there and they traded a bunch there, so. You got a little bit of market maker imbalance there now that might suck them back up. Still heavy. Now, if it breaks another new low, like almost immediately here in succession, then I'm really going to be like, whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Something really is wild is going on. Oh, sure. Got to see lots of things that the bank use. They used a DOM, though. Like, they used the DOM and they had algorithms. So I don't know if I'd be getting filled 3729. That price goes bid, that should be like I would sell into it. I've only a bit of wrangling at 05. I don't know, like they got a good pullback there, but like the yields didn't come back very much, did they? Not that, well, let's see here. On this down move, we did see a little bit of a steepener come in. The yield curve not moving too much on this though. Yeah, I watched Margin Call. I mean, that one's doesn't really show too much of the trading side of it, does it? I saw a clip one time where it also had Kevin Spacey in it, but it was not margin call. At least I didn't see that scene in margin call. Maybe it was like a canceled scene or something, but like, and that looked more like what I understood from how a desk worked. When was margin call? 2011? Anyways, I was just looking through Kevin Spacey's IMDb and didn't see anything that seemed like obvious, but oh. Ryan Reynolds is one of the many investors seeking to acquire the Alpine Formula One team. Really? People confuse margin call and The Big Short. Well, yeah. Okay, so the thing that bothers me about margin call is that it really wasn't a margin call, right? It was the bank realizing how bad things were and just dumping everything before they got screwed over. It wasn't, they weren't forced to by him, you know? It was like, a lot has traded now at 050, right? That might become point of control. Like buyers did step up there, right? It's just like, okay, it's still heavy. If they breach again, could be a little ugly, you know? I don't know. The thing is still, okay, so when we like decline to like new lows, that oh, you know what? I don't think that my chart here has been updating, actually. That's a little odd. Reload all historical data. I want to see what the deltas have been since that. Because surely there was some cumulative delta selling after that, right? Okay, that's a little better. Okay, but it's still only about 7K net. Still about 7K net. And 03 half is still a little bit like, I don't know. I think I misread that because I definitely got out too early, right? And given my expectations, there could certainly be more. I wouldn't say that there has to be more, but the possibility is definitely there. So let me fix these other ones here. It looks like when that happened that all of my charts kind of got screwed over. I'm just gonna restart NinjaTrader. That's a little odd. Well, it shut down really easily. Oh, really? Okay. So the Bank of England is doing a Gilts sell. That could maybe explain what's going on. Okay, well they just gave me the results of that Gilt sell. There wasn't like a jump in the treasury market when he said that, but like I think, well, yeah, visually a lot of people would be looking at this as a support for sure. Like if you come back and look at the chart, then you see this as just a retracement of the overnight move, right? And back to the prices that we were at on the close on Friday. It's not loading back up again yet. I'm going to give it some time, but I think that my NinjaTrader data is a little bit messed up. Supreme Court turns away case on charter schools mandatory skirt for girls. Okay. There you go. Now it's back. Okay. Now you can see, oh yeah, that was just a retracement of the overnight move, right? So it doesn't necessarily mean anything significant has changed or anything. But I do kind of wonder and suspect if there's not some just like wider spread selling in the treasury market here from that. I'm not saying like that's what I think it is. It's just like that scenario is out there. But it's probably not the most likely scenario. The most likely scenario is that currencies mean reverted, you know? but they pulled back to 05. So just note that it hasn't been very long. If there was some backwash and long flows, it wouldn't be very difficult for them to get back to 09. But that very much depends on if there's more sell flow or not. Another thing is much like many of the moves that we've seen over the past few days, there's not really pullbacks and stuff on it. Like, they will certainly come to those areas of distribution, but they won't stay there for very long, and they almost immediately go for new lows. Right? Although this one has kind of been in this 05 range for about 20 minutes. Right? It's kind of interesting. I've made money on all of these days, but only like a tiny bit, and I've left so much on the table. Although I think even if I had been going for it, I don't know if I really tough to get the extra. We got a breach 03. Come on. Let's see what you got. S&P 500's looking bullish, back up to 4,400. I heard some clicking there, but that was in the ES. Some bids pulling. Stacking and pulling. Okay, this is an interesting thought. Glenn Greenwald, it's worth asking why so many Americans hate Russia. It's not because they invaded a country, since most beloved establishment leaders, starting with Biden, have done that repeatedly. Okay, I'm not sure I agree with that one, but let's just leave it for a second. For GOP hawks, it's reflexive jingoism. For Dems, they blame Putin for Hillary's loss. I think Democrats do blame Putin for Hillary's loss. It's true. At the end of the day, Democrats do not view Donald Trump as a legitimate presidential winner. They think that the foreign intervention, which by the way always happens, is just not so obvious, that the foreign intervention kind of made him illegitimate to some extent. And that Donald Trump's whole term was just an aberration that shouldn't have existed in the first place. You called it? I don't know. I didn't really. Here's how I saw this playing out. D was saying, oh yeah, like there's something in the book here. I'm like, I don't know. It seems like probably nothing should happen. Saw it come down to the other side of the range. Was like, okay, something's happening, and went short without saying anything. And then not, just kind of being amazed at the move down. I really try to keep myself in terms of what I say. I try to be a neutral observer to, like, I'll tell you like the things that I know that could potentially predict flows, but then as we're going through, I'm not like, oh, it should do this and like cheerlead it. I want to see volume come through, and when it comes through, it's amazing to watch, That has happened. Church must have at one point said kids were going to make a lot of money when I come. Well, he did. Well, I don't know if you're saying kids like when he was talking to his kids, but I think that Donald Trump did think that becoming president would make him richer, and it certainly did not, right? Because most politicians become significantly more wealthy after they become politicians. Now, I think a lot of people see it, think that that's because, so I'm going to try and propose an alternate theory here. Is it because of corruption? Yes, maybe. But I also think it's because at that point, you're getting a large enough salary that you can like invest in insignificant things, and they get lots of opportunities to invest, and that's why they make so much. So like the real answer there is you know, the way to become excessively wealthy is through investing. Like that's literally the only way that it happens. The best way is you start your own business and then that business takes off, right? But that's still investing, right? So if you really want to become excessively rich, you have to live significantly below your means to the point where you can put in a lot of capital into very speculative investments, right? Well, back to the Russia thing, though, like, you could remember back when Mitt Romney said Russia is our greatest geopolitical foe. And I remember at that time being very unhappy with Russia and what was going on because they were like literally invading countries and stuff. And Democrats just kind of blowing it off because it was like under Obama's tenure and he didn't do anything. So like, no, Russia's just fine, etc., right? And then after the election, then all of a sudden they really hated Russia, right? Yeah, I do think it was because of what they viewed as Russia meddling in the election. I'm actually psyched for the New York City wood-fired oven ban. Oh, did they ban wood-fired ovens? That was like the best part of New York was their wood-fire oven pizza places. You gotta ruin everything, don't you? Freaking man. Oh, so that reminds me, yesterday there was this thread from, it was on Reddit, and the story was from salon.com that basically saying, Republicans don't like wokeness because they're racist. And I was like, no, like very, very few people will argue against that. Like there can be biases and inequalities ingrained into the culture of a society. I think that we all kind of understand that to some extent. Okay. Republicans aren't saying that. Republicans are saying that we don't really understand how all that works and what the best ways are to go about resolving those sorts of things. But I'm pretty sure that the things that you guys are doing to try and resolve those problems don't actually help anything and make things worse. And so somebody responded to me like, you know, I was like, we hate all of these crazy solutions. And the creator of the submitter of this story was like, well, like what? And so I just like pulled up a bunch of links. No, nobody looked at or responded to the comment at all. So I don't know. I was just kind of like, how can you not know what I'm talking about? Is your head really that deep in the sand? Hey, maybe they are. Maybe people on the left aren't reading these headlines like that There are schools in the UK that are allowing kids to identify as animals, and so when they answer questions in class, they just bark and meow, and it disrupts the class, but the teachers are told to not do anything about it. Right? Government handles the problems, but the world would be a lot more violent without the government. Well, it's just like the reason I think that if you're conservative, the reason you're conservative is because you watch things go on and you realize how little we really actually understand about this stuff, right? Because progressivism, a lot of people think that progressivism means that you want the society to progress. That's BS, okay? Everybody wants the society to progress. Progressivism is the idea that government is an effective way to facilitate those changes. That's what progressivism is, right? Is that the government should be an activist in pushing forward the culture, right? And the problem with that is that every time I see them mess around with those sorts of things, I kind of see other problems result from it. So everybody seems to think that there's like this optimal solution to these problems, and I really don't think that there is. And if there is an optimal solution, it's probably not actually very intuitive. And I think the reason that is because the systems at work here are not what we actively think of. Like, I think that the culture can really be boiled down to a set of nerve cells in your brain that as you learn things, that your brain configures itself in certain brain pathways, you know, based on what it's learned, right? It's a neural network, and culture is like kind of like a shared portion of that neural network between all people that we use to understand and interact with each other, right? So if you make a significant change to that neural network, I don't think that the immediate results are entirely clear, because we really don't understand how these networks work at all. Like I can't, like, even when you're talking about computers, right? I can't, like, I can train in the network and have the computer, you know, create a network that's effective at solving a problem. But if I go in and I change one thing about that network, I can't really predict how it's going to affect the network very well at all, right? And that's kind of what I keep hearing is that, yeah, so we can totally reimagine the entire culture, and it'll be a better culture. And I'm like, nah, that's not how it works, right? And I can already see in here, like, with the wokeness, right? Well, it's not what the liberals think, because it's ended up attacking meritocracy and attacking free speech, and the people on the left don't see that. It's like, you know? I lost you. Why is Marty talking about me? when he said that, it made sense to me why he was saying that, but I don't remember anymore. Oh man. I think that was mostly just me getting off on something, you know, getting off track on something that I've been thinking a lot about. Oh yeah, that's right. There was a pause and there was that Reddit thread, so I was just explaining my thoughts from that Reddit thread. That's what it was. That's what that was about. I completely segued. So now I have to go back to the market here. We've seen 20,000 contracts at 06, 17K at 05, 18K at 050. So it happened very quickly, but there was a very sneaky and large amount absorbed in this area. So if they continue to sell, that's impressive. That's a really big seller. And a really strongly motivated seller, Because in this situation, the most likely thing that you'll see is for the seller to back off. And I think that you could say that let's say 753 was the end of the order. We came back to 06 and we ranged there for a while. We're having a move down to the lows, but it's kind of more of a market maker low volume move. So those happen. Those can result in new lows, but I can't really predict those. The YouTube algorithm doesn't not like the truth. Well, no, it really doesn't, does it? So it's the same problem, isn't it, right? We are making changes to the culture. And in this case, they're not necessarily intentional changes, but that's just us coming in and adjusting to the internet and trying to make money from the internet and so forth. And we are simply not capable of understanding the complete impact of these things. It seems to me that the YouTube algorithms that we have right now might not be the best. And I'm not saying that I know of a way to do it that's better or anything. I'm just saying I would be really interested in seeing sites take different approaches, right? Like what bothers me is if you have an alternative website like Dailymotion or Rumble or any of these other ones, right? I think that one of the main selling points that I would give on them is that, yes, we do have an algorithm that recommends content to you based on these things, but here's how our algorithm is different from what YouTube does, right? And why might that algorithm be better? And let's see things, because I think that one of the ways that you're able to evolve an effective neural network or system is one where there really is competition required, right? So if you have different algorithms recommending different types of content to people, and people will gravitate towards the algorithm that gives them the content that they like. And I think in the short term, it seems like the YouTube algorithm does kind of play towards what people like, but it seems like it doesn't in the long term, Like you get bored of it in the end and you kind of realize that all of the content that we're being fed is vacuous and it's kind of dumb, right? That's why like everybody in the end ends up being unhappy with the state of social media, right? So what do we need? We need competition. Right now, yeah, there's different social networks, like there's Twitter, there's Facebook, there's YouTube, right? But they're all basically doing the same thing. They're all optimizing towards engagement, right? And I want to see a social media platform that says, yes, we have recommendation algorithms, but they don't optimize for engagement. How is that algorithm different? Yeah, we might just be stuck here for a while, to be honest with you. Oh, did the stream freeze? I don't know. You didn't freeze. Maybe it was just muddy. It's talking about when he went into the Matrix. Yeah. Well, that was when I was trying to explain that, the culture is kind of like a shared neural network of sorts. They were saying like the Matrix is like, oh, not quite, but it's like a machine learning network, but it's a brain cell learning network is what it is, right? Rumble needs to update their platform. So like this is the whole thing. So let me go over to Rumble and I'll show you. I'm sorry, you know, like as an ADHD person, there'd just be some subjects that I'll come back to over and over again, and I'll want to talk about, but I want to talk about this, and this is kind of an approach that, you know, we haven't talked about before. So Rumble. Okay, so here's Rumble's page. Okay. So what is the top video on Rumble? Well, it's Steven Crowder, who I'm honestly, like, he's funny and all, but I'm kind of over him. Talking about something that I already know about, Patriot Front Unmasked. So there was a confrontation between Patriot Front, which is this white nationalist group that goes around that they all have their face covered. And everybody on the Donald Trump forums and stuff think that they're actually feds trying, you know, like a honeypot scheme or something like that. And there was a confrontation between these Patriot Front guys and like some actual MAGA supporters. And one of the Patriot Front members got unmasked. Turned out to be a Jewish student at a university. Okay, it's kind of weird. Top live categories. Finance, 2,000 viewers. That's not actually that much. Versus trending news. But it's just like all of the videos that come up are not really interesting to me. Rave in the Redwoods? I mean, maybe it's because I'm not signed in. And I don't... Here, hold on. Let me try signing in. There just seems to be no rhyme or reason as to how it pulls stuff out. So I'm interested in woodworking. Wood finishing. That's something I've been searching for a lot. Oh, okay. So here's one. That's a video on YouTube that I've already seen. Couple hundred views on those ones. The secrets of wood finishing revealed. Oh, we can watch that. Finishing a bowl with crayons? What? Okay, but then if I come back over here, does it say, oh, maybe he likes wood finishing? No, it doesn't. In fact, I'm going to bet that if you go to Rumble's front page that you see the same videos recommended that I do. I came back there a little bit there in the treasury while we were yapping about that. You know what's something that kind of makes me mad thinking back on this trade that we did earlier was that, like, we got out, it kind of did do this stuff that I was like concerned about and everything for a little while. But then when it did move and it broke the 09, like all it had to do was like trade 08 and it was already like another $10. Like that other $10 came so quickly. There was no chance to do anything about it. So to some extent, maybe it was just luck of the draw. I don't know. You know what we should do? We should try and find out when UK does its bond sales. UK bonds, gilt sales. Fresh gilt sale blockbuster is coming as UK lures pension blah 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 blah. The Debt Management Office. When was this? May? See, there's a Bloomberg terminal link, but not a Description, information, glossary of terms. Issuance calendar. The issuance calendar for each financial year is published in March. Show report. Gonna need to make this a lot bigger here. Okay, so today is June 26th, 2023. Well, this one says June 27th. So what was that about? Let's see here. Tender report? Tender results? If I come to Forex Factory and like turn on all the currencies, no, there's just CBI realized sales. UK bond offerings schedule. Issuance calendar. Eurozone UK bond auction calendar. Maybe. Sign up now. All right. What is this? He wants me to get free access, but like, I bet you that it's not. I bet you that they're going to ask for a card or something. Let's see. Whoa, wait. Can I log? Do I already have one? Log in. I do. You don't have access to this page. Thanks. Okay. Calendars. So that's the one that we just looked at, right? That only mentions June 27th. Okay. Events calendar. June 2023 to August 2023 show report. I think we need to go back 40 minutes ago when they... Goldman Sachs' impact to oil markets from recent developments in Russia may be limited. Yeah, sure. Probably what I expected. Bank of England 20-year Gilts buyback offer cover. Yeah, what's with this? There it is. There's the report. Now, when I was coming over here, I'm getting DMO. Bank of England issuance calendar. Maybe this one right here. Oops. There we go. Full calendar. July. Oh, look there. No, that's not it. And June 26th. APF Gilt long. Short, medium, long, or maturity sector. Okay, so there's... Wait. Yeah, that's 2023. I should send that to... I'll put it in the financial juice. Was it on Financial Juice? No. Oh, I guess we get Dallas Fed Manufacturing Business Index here in a few moments. A few minutes, 5 minutes. So I think that one's gonna be it. Yeah, and this one doesn't have nothing. Anyways, this one doesn't have anything. Like, look, there's Great British Pound tomorrow. There's one early in the morning. No. No. Nope. Nope. So yeah, I think that's the best we're gonna get. Maybe later I can do a little bit more research, but I'm getting bored of that. Think that we'll just, maybe that we just sit here now. Zero Hedge says China is more consequential than Russia for stock market risks. Yeah, it really seems to me like the market is ignoring the whole deal in Russia, and I don't blame them. and like I said earlier, I know it seems like a really confusing story. But like, I don't know, I woke up yesterday and was like, after kind of digesting everything, and I was like, no, this is like, we're making it too complicated because we wanted Russia to go down. They're an ultra nationalist country where people really honestly buy into it whole with their whole heart, even the people that were revolting, and there was no way that they were going to get further buy-in from the military, and the whole thing was doomed from the start. And so he took the easiest option out that he had. They gave him a deal. Although you do have to think that he's going to get assassinated at some point. We'll see. Ah, yes. This is a story that I saw the other day that I was kind of a little, we should come in and check in on this one. So the story is Goldman Sachs cuts over 100 managing directors as M&A activity sours. Okay, so a managing director is like a big time guy, right? Like managing directors I didn't realize there was that many of them, that they could fire hundreds of them. Okay, but those are like people that are making tons of money there, right? So to be firing 125, that's really is a slowdown in activity in investment banking. Has that affected their stock this morning? I think it probably will. Let's see. GS stocks, Goldman Sachs. Oh, no, actually not too much. But I guess they've been hammered pretty decently all last week though. Oh, what's this? Oh, wants me to verify my number. Somebody tried to message me over on that platform. I'm just going to ignore it. Okay. So they're finally busting up some volume into 07. You know, that trade that I took earlier today, it was an okay trade and all, but I think I was kind of lucky there because I really didn't have the key piece of information that we needed was that there was a buyback offering, right? If I had known that, then I could have just sold and waited until the top of the hour, and then I would have known, right? And I would have made a better profit on that. Okay, let's just read this thing. The higher interest rate environment has weighed on merger and acquisition activity in recent quarters. Interest rate swaps show rate tenders are expecting the Federal Reserve to hold rates around 500 to 525 basis points through the end of the year. Tougher financial conditions are sticking around for now, and perhaps the continued slowdown in deal making is why Goldman Sachs is preparing to cut higher seniority staff members. Bloomberg reported that 125 managing directors, some in investment banking across many offices worldwide, will lose their jobs. These are higher level staff members versus the thousands of lower tiered staff that lost their jobs earlier this year in a cost savings plan amid waning deal making activity. Yes, if you're a managing director, that means you're a big boss at Goldman Sachs, right? It's like if you're a vice president at Goldman Sachs, that doesn't mean anything. That just means you've been there long enough and stuff like that. Okay. If you're a manager, that means that you manage other people. But if you're a managing director, then that means that you you're like big time management, right? In May, Goldman prepared for the third round of layoffs. Last September, the investment bank cut hundreds of jobs, followed by a massive 3,200 layoff, or about 6% of all employees in January. At the end of the first quarter, Goldman had a total workforce of about 45,400. The bank has been reducing its headcount since peaking at 49,000 in the third quarter of 2022. Wow. That's interesting. They have gotten so big. Really, since I've been there, they're a lot bigger. When I was there, they were because that was 2016? They were in the 30s, so they're almost twice as big now. Wow. Well. Really is since that sale ended and everything, treasury market has been kind of dead, hasn't it? How do you exit your trades? Thread on Reddit. But I just don't know how to exit trades. A lot of the time, even when I do catch an absolutely good entry in hindsight, I exit way too early because of a minor weakness in trend. Well, yeah, that happens to all of us. Okay. The key to understanding how to take profits lies in understanding how you're making money in the first place. You need other people to come in later and also buy in order to increase the price. Also, if you're making money, it's because you correctly predicted future orders. So, you correctly So the question then becomes, how many orders are you actually expecting? Liquidity conditions and correlations change all the time. This uses level 2 to categorize the market order in each transaction as either buy or sell. I'm just rereading my post here. Oh, you want me to read it out loud? Key to understanding how to take profits lies in understanding how you're making money in the first place. If you buy a security, you need other people to come in later and also buy in order to increase the price. So if you're making money, it's because you correctly predicted future orders. So the question then becomes, how many orders are you actually expecting? Keep the trade on until you've seen the expected amount. I do this using cumulative delta. This uses level 2 to categorize the market order in each transaction as either buy or sell. Cumulative delta ends up being all buys minus all sells. So during a move, you should expect to see cumulative delta move a certain amount. For instance, if I'm trading 10-year Treasury futures, ZN futures, a minor move is just 10K change. Moderately large move is 30K. So if we just had news I think will really move the markets, I'm waiting for 30K or more change in delta. If you're watching the book, you might also see large transactions followed by lower latent liquidity in an area. Price will tend to get stuck in these locations for a while. These tend to provide optimal locations to exit trades when you're getting close to your expected change in cumulative delta. Maybe should say something about waves, but whatever. We'll figure it out from there. Somebody reads that and they're actually interested, they can just ask questions, right? Here's a thread on Reddit. This guy is basically just explaining to you that when they say that they're going to give you a 300K account, it's not actually a 300K account. That's right. Now, here's another story about New York City cracks down on coal and wood-fired pizzerias. That's so sad. Dude. I will never have the opportunity to go to Grimbali's or whatever the name of that place is. Do you reply? I think you meant to say, do you rely on correlation for your trades? So correlation is one of many factors that I will keep an eye on and factor into my trades. So the most recent video that I posted on is like a really good summary of this, but to be short, I'm going to be looking at the order flow, correlations, volatility, risk management strategies, and for information that is predictive of future orders. So breaking news, current positioning, models based on what CTAs and different types of players in the market are doing, right? I factor all these things together to come up with what I think the future orders are going to be for that day. And then utilize the book to find an optimal location in the direction of my entry. Stay in the trade until I've seen the amount of change in orders that I'm expecting to see. And then I take my profits, right? So correlation is one of those things that kind of factor in because, like the move that we had today, you weren't actively seeing a ton of volume in the treasuries over here. It didn't change that much, maybe like 5K during the most of it, right? And I think that was because it was a Gilts operation. And so it was correlations. I guess you could say correlation with the dollar. You definitely saw that move in, oh, well, actually, maybe not so much Gilts. You definitely saw it in the 6J. Right? So that was a correlation. So in that one, I couldn't really rely on the cumulative delta because it seemed like the move wasn't coming from there. So, I kind of took the quick profit and it worked out for me in today's trade. But right, so that's how I work it out. So yes, correlation. You should use correlation. it's kind of funny. All of the people that they're like, oh, okay, like I see this head and shoulders pattern here. And well, yeah, but there's this correlated asset that it tends to follow very closely that says that really strongly looks like it's about to move further and it's just going to bust through your little level, or right? Like, and we know that there are funds and stuff that they're making money off of correlations, right? So we should probably factor that into our trading strategy somehow, right? But I wouldn't say rely. I would say it's one factor. Did we finish that playlist? Hold on. Where is my Spotify? Spotify. You need a fight, call Spotify. Yeah, I want to do this one. How about this one? Sure. Thank you. That's what I'm here for. Thank you for asking the question, because it's a good question. Sometimes I'll get questions from traders that I'm just like, well, I'm going to try and answer the question, but they clearly don't get it. Well, when you ask me a question like that, that's like, oh, okay, he's on the right track. First Squawk tweets, quote by Prigozhin, the head of the Wagner Group in Russia. We showed no aggression, but we were hit by missiles and helicopters. Says this was the trigger. Okay. Where is this coming from? Founder of Russia's Wagner Group, Prigozhin Wagner, was bound to cease existence on July 1st. Founder of Russia's Wagner Group, Prigozhin, no one agreed to sign contract with Defense Ministry. We started our march due to injustice. We turned around to avoid spilling blood of Russian soldiers. That's kind of weird. Where is he saying this stuff? And is it? I don't know if this is actually, it has any significance. I'm gonna come over here on Twitter and I'm gonna open up a thing to show mentions of his name here on. That's just more people repeating that. I'm gonna just change a little, make it so that we need like 5 likes in order for it to show up. Otherwise you get way too much stuff. Oh, okay. So it was a voice message on their Telegram program that is 11 minutes long on their Telegram channel or whatever. But that kind of looks like this is not any new information in there. It's just the information that we already had coming from his mouth. I also wonder why you wouldn't do a video message. So the story here is New York City cracks down on coal wood-fired pizzerias and must cut carbon emissions by up to 75%. First comment. New York City is going to tell Italians to stop using wood-fired stoves for pizza? Good luck with that. First response, as a former chef, if someone told me to stop using a wood-fire oven, I'd be imagining putting them in that same oven. If some dink in a suit who sits in an air-conditioned office coming to a restaurant telling my staff to change our oven gets stuffed like a calzone with lots of fresh mozzarella and crispy, lightly charred crust. You can't F with a New Yorker's crust and expect to get away with it. I'm just saying that's real thin ice. It really is. It really is. I'm quite shocked that they're doing this. I really am. Am I having data issues again? 8:13. Yes. My charts haven't been updating for almost an hour. What's with this? Okay, this time I'm going to try like disconnecting and reconnecting to my feed. Let's see if that fixes it. Yeah, I'm using NinjaTrader 8 charts, but not 8.1. I'm still on 8.0 point blah, 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 whatever. It's kind of weird. It's like the second time today that it's just like the chart randomly stops updating. No, 8117. No. So they've had two branches, right? So there's been updates on the 8.0 branch as well. And those changes were for CQG, not for other stuff. Now it is showing me real stuff. Yes. Just kind of been bottom skimming here. Although they've had some difficulty getting above 06. I don't know, 04.5 is like, they could go for it again. There's some selling in the 5-year. There's some selling in the 5-year. Oh, I didn't catch that the S&P 500 had a big... I haven't been keeping track of the E-minis very well these days, have I? Because they came back super hard. I mean, it's only like a 20 point change, but still... I feel obligated now to go and build a fire wood oven in my backyard. Just to stick it to the libs. NBC poll, Biden leads Trump in would-be 2024 election rematch. Bloomberg. Not that Bloomberg is a particularly great election outfit. That's Biden 49, Trump 45. Pew Research. But what about the other Republicans? Gender gap. Democrats gained among suburban voters. Maybe they didn't ask about the other candidates. I'll reset that. Yeah, no, I guess not. Well, it's time I get going, huh? So, I guess I will see you guys later. Treasuries pop in reverse. Lucky trend. From UK Gilts operation. Is the dime your primary tool for determining entry and exits, as you do, or do you rely on charts as well? Well, so I would say that I do not look for patterns of any kind to determine if I want to go long or short. So I have other information that comes from outside of the exchange. You know, things I know about different institutional strategies and how they work and things like that I'm using to determine whether people will be buying or selling that day. And then when I see flows in line with that, I take trades in locations where the book is favorable to me. So I would say I could trade without the charts, but I couldn't trade without the DOM. Yeah, makes sense. Cool. Thank you. I have lots of videos. Go and watch my videos, my order flow video series, and it'll make a lot more sense. Okay, I gotta get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. In the meantime, stay excellent, team.